The United States woke up to a logistical nightmare. Nearly 50,000 port workers along the East Coast went on strike. Ships laden with everything from food to furniture sat idle. The International Longshoremen's Association blamed the US Maritime Alliance for ignoring workers' demands. This strike could send shockwaves through the entire US economy. The spectre of empty shelves and skyrocketing prices looms large. The situation is fluid, with negotiations ongoing. Will the US Maritime Alliance meet the workers' demands? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the stakes are incredibly high. The workers' demands are twofold: fair wages and protection from automation. They argue their wages haven't kept pace with the rising cost of living. They point to the shipping industry's record profits as proof they are not asking for too much. The workers are acutely aware of the advancements in automation. They see their jobs threatened by robots and automated systems. The US Maritime Alliance claims to have offered substantial wage increases, but the workers remain skeptical, seeing the offer as a short-term placation. They are demanding a fair deal that addresses both their immediate financial needs and long-term job security. This strike is about more than just wages. It's about the future of work itself. The strike's impact is already being felt across the country. Supermarkets are seeing their stocks of imported goods dwindle. Manufacturers are facing delays in receiving crucial components. The most immediate impact is on consumer goods. Retailers warn of potential shortages and price hikes. Consumers, already grappling with inflation, are bracing for further financial strain. The strike is also disrupting the supply of industrial materials. Factories are running low on raw materials, forcing them to slow down production. The longer the strike continues, the more severe the economic fallout will be. This is not the first time US ports have been paralyzed by labor disputes. The history of port work in the US is riddled with strikes and lockouts. In 1977, a similar strike brought the entire East Coast to a standstill. The strike lasted for months, causing widespread economic disruption. It took the intervention of the federal government to broker a deal. The current strike is a stark reminder of unresolved tensions in the global supply chain. It highlights the vital role played by port workers, often overlooked until their labor is withdrawn. The US economy is built on a foundation of global trade. When those workers are pushed to the brink, the entire system feels the strain. The business community is watching the unfolding crisis with growing alarm. Companies large and small are feeling the pinch as the strike disrupts their supply chains. Over 200 business groups have sent a letter to the White House pleading for intervention. They argue that the strike is causing irreparable damage to the US economy. They warn of job losses and business closures if the situation isn't resolved soon. The US Chamber of Commerce has called on President Biden to invoke the Taft-Hartley Act. This controversial law would force the workers back to work for a cooling-off period. However, such a move would likely be met with fierce opposition from labor unions. The business community is desperately hoping for a compromise that will get goods flowing again. The Biden administration finds itself in a delicate position. President Biden has positioned himself as a staunch ally of labor unions. He has emphasized the importance of collective bargaining and workers' rights. On the other hand, the strike's economic impact is undeniable. The White House is under immense pressure to find a solution. So far, the White House has resisted calls to invoke the Taft-Hartley Act. The administration has urged both sides to return to the negotiating table. They have hinted at the possibility of providing federal mediation. The strike is a major test of President Biden's leadership. As the strike enters its second week, the path to a resolution remains unclear. Both sides have dug in their heels, with neither willing to back down. The negotiations have stalled, and the rhetoric has become increasingly acrimonious. Some experts believe the federal government needs to take a more active role. Others believe the two parties need to work out their differences without outside interference. The longer the strike continues, the more difficult it will be to repair the damage. The economic costs are mounting, and the social fabric is beginning to fray. The world is watching and waiting to see how the standoff will be resolved. The outcome will have far-reaching consequences for the future of labour relations in a globalised world.